much. Welcome to you, Professor Singh, for joining us in the session, and also for giving us this direction and the opportunity to have such a beautiful session with the learned scholars of different fields. As you have seen, already you have all have seen that we have speakers from various states of South India, and that is a different thing for us because I am here in North India and Sir is there in USA. So, and also you all are from different backgrounds. That is the main special ingredient of this particular session today. So now I like to introduce Professor Singh. Professor Balram Singh Ji is a president of the Institute of Advanced Sciences, Dartmouth, ME, USA. He has been professor since 1990 to 2014 of chemistry, biochemistry, biology, and the founding director from 2000 onwards of Center for Indic Studies at University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. And he is a director of Botulinum Research Center. He writes on value of ancient Indian traditions for the modern times. His research includes Ayurvedic science and technology, yoga and consciousness, Vedic education pedagogy, and Vedic social and political traditions. He is associated with many academic organizations here in India, such as JNU, University of Delhi, Puducherry University, to name few. He is a member and board of director of WAVES USA. WAVES is World Association for Vedic Studies, and editor-in-chief of WAVES blog. Also, he is managing editor of Ayurveda Journal of Health. And lastly, but not least, there are a lot more to say about Professor Singh because he has many books as an author, co-author, and edited and translated books to his credit, not in the field of science only, but also in the field of Sanskrit and philosophy, because he's very much interested in the Ayurvedic philosophy of Indian scriptures. And also, as I mentioned in the introductory part of this session, that we have already started few areas of discussion like Lok Varta, then Ekadash Rudra Manthan, which is basically for the Shiva only, and Vaishnavi Godboleji was one of the presenter in that session also. And then we have Navratri, Manisha, and Ram Janmotsav in the April season of Navratras. So such kind of different programs, which is not initiated by any of other institution, any other academic institution, I must say. So Professor Singh has given us this opportunity and platform to provide this kind of knowledge where we can relate our religious beliefs and with the belief of a society. So through the philosophical and other narrations. So thank you very much, Professor Singh, for giving us that platform. Now we are looking forward to hear your comments, your observations, and your address. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Aparna has been, I think Shakti. You know, she is one of those people, you give her something to do, she runs with it. You know, so she has so much power to do. And actually, it is her idea. She just giving me credit, but I really don't deserve it. But women are very nice to give credit to others. See, this is one of their qualities, actually very important quality. And so I was thinking that one of the other qualities that women have, they are very disciplined. See, normally if you have this session with men, I wouldn't have time to speak. And so I was preparing not to speak. I was just thinking I will just say, well, everybody has already spoken and there is nothing really much left and time is running out, so I don't need to speak. Actually, it reminds me a story of a lazy speaker. There's something sometimes I can be, who said that, please put me at the end. You know, they wanted him to speak. They said, well, you know, put me at the end. You know, when everybody is done, then I will speak. So okay. So he was invited to speak, like Aparna invited me, and then he asked everybody, did you understand everything that has been spoken? I did hear a little bit about Aparna, the other Aparna, and I did listen this little bit about Deepa Kiranji's and the final Vaishnavis. The rest of the time, actually, she said I was away for a few minutes. Actually, I was away for an hour and 40 minutes. So there is some minutes in there, but I was in another program. So she's just trying to cover me, just saying, this guy is a nice guy, and he was just away for a couple of minutes. But actually, I escaped because I had another program, and we wanted to do this program today. So we said that's fine. So I was, thinking that I will not have to speak much. So this lazy person, when he said he put me at the end, he was put at the end, and then he asked everybody that, did you understand everything that has been told to you so far? And I saw in the chat box, everybody saying, "It's wonderful, we understand this." And so there is nothing for me to say, because if you already understood everything, I tried this in JNU, because I studied in JNU. Sometimes they invite me. The JNU people are very argumentative. So the half of the students said, no, we didn't understand. The other half said, okay, we understood. And so I said, well, those who understood, they can teach the people who did not understand. So I don't have to say much after that. So sometimes this is a lazy way of what I was thinking. I will get away with it, because especially if there was no time. But you all are so disciplined, to the minute. There is an hour left because one person was missing. So that person's time nobody took. If it were men, they would be taking 3 persons' time, and they will never be able to get through. And I'm very grateful to Purohit, Jeevan Purohit ji. He's an army person, so he can be speaking from anywhere. It doesn't matter. They're always in troubled places anyway. So it was good that he really gave us some of his thoughts, especially because he was listening to all of you. I make sure I will listen. I'll keep my word. I do have a recording, and also it's on the Facebook. I really do want to listen. But I want to dispel a little bit of comment that Aparna made, Aparna Dheer Khandelwal, that she's from North, and today's speakers were South, mostly from South India. And so we have a little bit difference. He's actually Punjabi. Oops, 1 second. My computer had some interference. Okay. So she's actually Punjabi. It's not just North Indian. She's a Punjabi. If you tell her anything other than Punjabi, she says, I have no idea, whatever that is. So Punjabis are like that. They are very, if you want to have Mahiṣāsura Mardinī, you recruit from Punjab, because they will make sure that they can demonstrate that, how to be Mahiṣāsura Mardinī. Even today's Mahiṣāsuras can be taken care by Punjabis. So I think that's one comment I wanted to make. The other thing is, she also introduced, I didn't know she was introducing me. I work with botulinum neurotoxin, which most people don't know how to even pronounce. But actually it is in service of women. I don't know whether that will be Mahiṣāsura Mardinī or not. But it is, some of you might know, it is a botulinum neurotoxin is also known as Botox. And this is used for aesthetics. And so for people to look younger. And I remember Vaishnavi talking about, some people may be old and young, and how to, and women are the only people, they get born with that voice, they remain with that voice, their voice remains young. Men, they lose, boys, they start losing that in teenager years, they become old people. But women always remain. And this is very important. Why is that the case? We need to really think about it. We are talking about Nārī-Śakti, and I cheated my other program and joined a little bit when there was a discussion about different Sailputri and Brahmavadini and other discussions. So I was able to walk in here because I cheated the other program and joined because I wanted to listen to. So there are so many phases of Parvati or Durga or Mahiṣāsura Mardinī. Mahiṣāsura Mardinī is really one of the forms. I think the one which is either called Ratri or Katyayini, one of the two, which either one of them, she is very powerful and she is very convinced. It's not more than power, you need convincing. If you are convinced, you are confident, you can do anything. And this is, you will find a way to do it. Somebody is like, let's say man, Mahiṣāsura was maybe physically very strong. You can get even physical strength. Women are very, very strong physically. They don't, this is the wrong notion. People have told that men are strong. Men may be strong for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Women can be strong for 24 hours. And in today's world, where you have weapons, even I'm talking about in war, women can fight for longer because they can sit in the trench for hours. A man cannot sit in trenches for hours. He will come out of it. And so if you have a really a fighting war, shooting war, you can still even win that one. So I think this notion of what is Nari and what is Nārī-Śakti, especially in today's world, is very important to be interpreted rightly. And I was so impressed by part of the presentation I heard from Deepa Kiranji and Vaishnavi. And that's, you are so confident, you have so much, if you have your own framework, if you listen to my framework, you will always look like very weak. It's like a story that you may have heard about it, since you all know, especially I think Deepa was talking about, stories that, if you have a monkey and if you have an elephant and say, well, let's go, who can climb the tree? Well, obviously monkey will win. But we know that elephant is very, very strong. But that you have to be in the framework. If you listen to man's framework, you are going to be in big trouble. So the first thing women should not want to do is like man, because then obviously you are always going to look like, because his framework is very, very narrow, and in that narrow framework you won't fit. Because like I said, man has a upper body strength, but for only certain period of time. They get tired, they get tired physically, they also get tired mentally. Man does not have the steady thing, their mind keeps going here and there. So it is very important that we understand some of those things. I mean, I'm a man, I'm not trying to criticize man. I mean, man can be great. Men are always great, and they are made by women. This is very important. It's like Aparna is giving all this credit to me because I let her do this. So she's saying, well, I'm great because I let her do that. If women let me do that, then I'm great. If they don't let me do that, I'm in mess. It's starting from my mother. And this is a little personal. I only came to know only recently that people advised my mother to abort me. People advised my mother to abort me. This is very personal information. I came to know only 2 years ago. That they were telling that you take the papaya leaves and this and that, and then it will be aborted. Why? Because my father died 3 months before I was born. So I was supposed to be the bad omen guy, Asub. I was a not very welcome child in my family. I mean, at least some people thought. But my mother was very strong, and she became widow when she was 26. There are some people who have even other stories around my birth. But the point is that she was very strong. So she literally made me what I am today. Otherwise, she could have easily aborted. Today's women are looking for rights to abort. And my mother, everybody advised her, but she said, no, this is my child. I'm going to have this child. No, I mean, there's nothing, I didn't do anything wrong. Obviously, my father died. There were some other circumstances. So women are the one who really literally make man. And, the man can never stand up to a woman, can never stand up to a woman. Note it down, because the first time the man opens eyes, sees a woman. And that woman is everything to him. But then that is a motherly woman. It's very important. That is a motherly woman. You need to be in charge. You can't just tell, you cannot beg to things. You cannot just say, oh, no, I'm getting this bad, I'm getting that bad. I mean, that's what Mahiṣāsura Mardinī did. When she said there is a problem, she said, I'm going to solve with this problem. This guy has to go. And she was able to do all that. So this is very important. But also, sometimes when we divide people, men versus women, then we lose. In science, we do it all the time. In science, we always take average. And only average is important. But in reality, nobody is average. Everybody is unique. And then when you have that uniqueness, then averaging erases that. So it is very important that we do not believe in scientific approach when it comes to individual. You know, maybe the world is having so much problem, but you are unique. You can bring yourself up. And again, this is a sanskar that mother can give. It is believed that mother is a million times better. Not is not believed. Actually, it's in Manusmriti. It says, Manusmriti says, a mother is a million times more important as a teacher than a teacher. Any teacher. Mother. Why is that? I have seen it in my life when I do this teaching of any kind. You know, Aparna talked about several things. I do also teach some yoga, and so I love Vaishnavi's exercise. I have been teaching yoga, and actually teaching yoga in the University of Massachusetts. Yoga is considered as a science. So because I was a scientist, I just brought it up in that way and explained to everybody that this is a science, and they all believe in it. Because I'm a scientist, I know how to speak that language. So this is speaking the language of the person who is there is very important, and only mothers do that. Because mother knows the child from the womb, knows, you know, whether how much is the movement, how much is this, and when they are born, whether this child bites me or it slaps me, whatever that is. She knows if she's wise. And this is very important, that even women should not be just averaged. All the women are Mahiṣāsura Mardinī. No, I'm sorry, they're not. And if you do that, then nobody will be Mahiṣāsura Mardinī. It will be Mahiṣāsura will be the Mardan. He will be mardaning everybody else. It's very important that your uniqueness remains. So at least from philosophy point of view, there is two sides of every coin. There is a good ones and there are bad ones. And good ones are very important to always remind how to become good. And bad ones are there, very important to tell the good ones that you better remain good. Otherwise, you will be getting here. And so I wrote an article once, feminism. You know, these days, feminism is very, very big thing that everywhere. And I think I didn't see that here actually. I mean, when I was listening to Vaishnavi, she said this is true for male and female. It is very important that both of them understand, because this world is made of male and female, but so there is it is at least for mutual understanding. You know, if you have a mutual understanding, then if you don't have male female, you will not have a full understanding. Whether it's a physical level or it's a mental level, it's a social level, it's a philosophical level, any level you want to go, scientific level, there are so much differences. One of my students, and I think Aparna knows this, one of my students, she did PhD with me, and she's not Hindu, she is a Muslim. And she asked me during Karwa Chauth's time that how come women are taking all this fasting for men? How about the other way around? So I said, I will do some research. I took an assignment from my student to do this research. And I did research. And I found very interesting scientific idea, which is being practiced in India for, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years, that women do fasting. Not only they do for Karwa Chauth, they also do this during Navratri. Men hardly do that, but women always do that. And then I found there is the phenomenon called autophagy. Autophagy in women is less, about half than that of men. Autophagy is the way of cleaning your house. The men have to do this cleaning, and they have learned how to do the cleaning. You know, so I think men can be better cleaners of the house because their body has more autophagy. Women do not have. Now that's number one fact. Number two fact: those who do not have autophagy, they have more neurological disorders. So women in general have more neurological distress. They have stress, they are depressed. In America, 80% of, there is a drug called Prozac. There is a drug called Prozac. Oh, good job, Aparna. Fantastic. So in America, they have I'm just talking about how the neurological disorders are true all over the world. And in America, there is a drug called Prozac. It is an anti-depressant drug. 80% of that is used by women in America with all their freedom and all their everything. because they have more, they don't do fasting. In India, that is not the case. In India, actually, now there is actually more, Aparna told me there is more stress in women and there is more suicide that women are committing in India. Is because they are not learning, they are not doing fast. Now the autophagy, if you increase your autophagy, your neurological disorders go away. You're not stressed as much. And how is that done? By fasting. If you do the fasting, your autophagy goes up. So now, I don't know wherever they learned, whosoever brought this science, long time ago. And so I found this and I told to Guncha, Dr. Guncha Ambrin, and she said, you convinced me. It's because she's a scientist also. She's actually working on neurodegenerative diseases. So she got it, exactly how this happens. So I'm saying that women have many practices. We don't have to do exactly the same thing. So there are good and bad. And the good, I wrote this, another article that maybe Aparna will put that up there. There is a feminism, Su feminism and Si feminism. The Si feminism is Sita feminism. I wrote that in an article that Sita was a very defined daughter, because Janak had said that nobody will touch this dhanush, but she was the first to move that dhanush. She took out the dhanush and then cleaned up around there. She defied her own father. Nobody was daring to do that, and she did many other things also. But since she already, Aparna already put the picture of Su is the Supernakha, was also very another type of feminist. She married on her own, and she was very brilliant person. She was a good fighter. She was the commander of the Dandakaran, and they were, Khar Dusan and other people were very, very strong militarily. Lieutenant Purohit can attest to some of those things. And she was commander. So she was also very strong. But she was, as we know, that she's a Supernakha. There was a huge difference between Supernakha and Sita. And a person no less than Ram chose actually Sita. He said that when Supernakha proposed to marry, he said, no, I already have here. If somebody is here, and he preferred Sita. Well, even though Sita had always, many times, not always, she had argued, but argued only for dharma. She actually argued with Ram to go to jungle, to go to forest with him. And her mother-in-law was the judge, believe it or not. Mother-in-law said, ultimately she said, yes, I think you have a right to go. And so she went, she always defied many times. She defied even at the end of it. But I do not want to make this discussion about that. I just want to say that there are, we just say men, there are Mahiṣāsura. There are men who are like Mahiṣāsura. There are men like Mahatma Gandhi. There are men like Ram. There are men like Krishna. There are like people who have given their lives. 99.97% death in wars are men. And we know at least two epics of India, which is the Ramayana and Mahabharata, happened because it was the protection of women. And why is that? Because women give this culture into men. They get this sanskar into them that you need to do your duties. Not its protection. If they don't do their duties, men would not exist. They have to do their duties. Now this brings this idea, which so far this is all because Aparna said this kind of thing, so I just brought this up. But I did take some notes to talk about that. Is why this how this world comes into being, why Mahiṣāsura is produced, why Mahiṣāsura Mardinī has to be there. Is the interaction between Purush and Prakriti. This is the way we are Maya. It's been before this world exists, not we are the kind of latest. The way this world exists is because of this, what is they in Rig Veda, they call it Spandan. Nasadya Sukta talks about Spandan, which means it breathes, the whatever that power, supreme power is, which is non-existing or all existing. And I know that Miss Salini could not make it, so she was going to talk about Aham Brahmasmi. So when you get to that Brahm status, there is no gender, there is no matter versus energy, it's all the same at that level. And that Brahm, when it wants to express itself, it breathes. The example they have given is breathing, which basically in science it means vibration. Vibration has positive peak and negative peak. If you take the negative peak out, the positive peak would not exist. So that energy is considered as a Purush, believe it or not. And Prakriti is given an example just to explain, just like, if we want to explain to child in the child's language, we want to explain, and if I need to speak in America, I will speak in English. I know that many of you are not familiar with Hindi, so we are all speaking in English. Otherwise, maybe we'll be speaking some Hindi also. And this Hindi, although in South, since my JNU days, I was saying that all Tamilians don't like Hindi, what kind of people are they? And until I realized only about 8-9 months ago, that India's entire culture is actually South Indian culture. India's entire culture is South Indian culture. How? Because in Matsya Avatar, Matsya Puran, it says that the incarnation of Lord Vishnu brought a Dravidian king from south to north. And who was that king? That king was Manu. That king was Manu. Manu Satrupa are the origin of 7th Manvantara. He was Vaivaswat Manu. And so where did he come? He came to, he was brought to Ayodhya, and he established his kingdom at the bank of Sarju River. So he was a Dravidian king. We are all coming, at least in Indians would say, but I say the whole world actually comes from that Manu Satrupa, because the word man, the Manush, all this thing, Mano, everything comes, humanity, everything comes from that Manu. And he was Dravidian king. It's according to Matsya Puran. So we cannot say that, oh, we are north now. Aparna knows that she owes everything to the south. So our origin is south, and in Manu is the progenitor of the whole humanity. Manu and Satrupa, he had a son called Ikshvaku, which is what the Suryavans comes from, and he had a son called Ila, which is the Chandravans comes from. So we are actually coming from there, and so there is no reason for us to even just because you don't want to speak Hindi, that's fine. Actually, I've been looking for, my mother that I just gave an example, we always call her Amma. It's the same thing that they call it in Tamil. I'm working on how to connect Awadhi language. I'm from Ayodhya. So Ayodhya means, from a village, actually near Ayodhya. And so I understand, that part was left out of in my introduction. Very big part in my introduction, that I'm from Ayodhya and I'm from a village. And so then I understand, because some of they recently, those of you who are from South might be knowing, I learned recently that they call Pille. The Pille is like a baby elephant. In South, the Pille is like a baby elephant. And in North, we don't have elephants, but we have dogs. So we call the dog's baby as Pilla. So, what I'm saying, there is so many other things that I'm doing research. I made some presentation recently, and this is how I learned. So coming back to this Purus and Prakriti, it's some science I want to bring. Is that, there is the words, and it may be in Tamil, the same thing in South languages. Tamil also has something like, I believe 36 or 40% words are Sanskrit words, even in Tamil. So it may be Sanskrit word came from Tamil. I'm not saying the Sanskrit word. I know the Aparna may not agree, because Sanskrit scholar think that everything was produced in Sanskrit. I don't think so. I really think that, the baby doesn't start talking PhD level language. Baby, when the first has to be Prakrit and then has to be Sanskrit. But anyway, I want to talk about this Prakriti and Purush, because Purush also, it seems like men are known as Purush. So why are they only one? They are called Purush. When the Prakriti and Purush is the original, then it should be maybe the Nari can be called Purush. Why not? But so this has been an important jigyasa or query, curiosity in my mind for a long time, and only learned it today. Because I was trying to prepare to talk about today this one, and I only learned today that Purush is energy, not power. Power called Shakti. So it's very important that the energy is Purush and material is Prakriti, which is the female. I always used to think the other way around. I used to think that the Shakti behind a man, the power behind a man is a woman. Many times people say that power behind me is my mother. Otherwise, I won't be there. So from there, and then, there are so many other relations people have, brothers, the sister, daughter, wife, all these ladies are very, very important. But the energy is called Urja and power is called Shakti. So they are not the same. So you have the Urja, and that Urja, when it meets with Prakriti, which is the material, then it makes the world. So actually, Nari, from that point of view, it utilizes the energy and makes this world. So she is really truly the creator of this world, not Purush. Now, why is this Purush given this thing? Because she gave this power to men to do certain things. And so it is her, they should listen to. And but also women should be listenable. Yatri nariyasya pujante ramante tatra devta doesn't mean that every nari has to be, whatever that Dibya Roy cannot be worshipped in India. Whatever that, I forget the lady who was involved with Hillary Clinton, Monica Lewinsky. Monica Lewinsky cannot be worshipped. And if people expect, many times women use this yatri nariyasya pujante ramante tatra devta. If we don't worship women, then all the things will be gone. That's not the case. There is a she and Su version of that. And so the important thing is that the she version has to dominate, which is what I saw in today's presentations. They are in charge. They know, they are very happy. Actually, I met with another woman yesterday. She also is originally Tamil, but now she is born and brought up in Delhi, but she is totally Tamil. And she said, and she's a dancer. The Mohini Ayattam Das or some name like that. She was not Bharatnatyam. And she was saying, her grandmother was a dancer, her mother was a dancer, and she is a dancer, her daughter will be a dancer. Because they believe in it, they just like it. It's not like she said, I don't care about whether I get money or not money. I am what I am. So this it's very important that we understand that we have this power, we make this world the way they make it, and the Shakti comes. Now, I was looking in physics. There is a word power in physics. It is work divided by time. In physics, it's work divided by time. How much time is, in a way, is kind of efficiency. And those of us who know at least mothers and sisters and wives, and sometimes when you get to see daughters in action, that how multitasking they do. This is called efficiency. They can do more work in that less time. That just proves that they have the power. That's the physics definition of power. And actually, in terms of electricity, it's the same definition. You use energy rather than work. You use energy means men, Purush. They have to be used to do the work. Your power will be proven only if you get men to work. If you don't get them to work, then you're not powerful at all. So, and how do you get to work? Is not just by commanding. Mothers can command, but daughters generally don't. Although many times my daughter tries to command me because she's my favorite one. So she always kind of calls me up, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I kind of end up doing that. Even she just got married recently. So I even cut the grass, I cut the trees, I did everything. I cooked the meals, I made a song for her, I sang it for her and everything, it's like, see, because she commanded that I need to do all that. So I was doing all that. So women can, there are various ways. I mean, she's a very loving daughter. So why would I not do that? Now, if she really got angry at me, maybe I will, sometimes she doesn't listen to me. So I told her recently that she owes me $8 million. Either she pays me $8 million or she listens to me. She said, how? I said, there are 3.2 billion base pairs of genes, and half of them are mine, half of them your mother's. And in today's rate, if I had to synthesize 1.6 billion pairs, it will cost you $80 million because I do research in that field. I said, you are my daughter, I'll give you a discount of 90%. Please give me $8 million or listen to me. And she uses her brain. She said, but you don't know that one thing. I said, what? She said, in last life, I was your grandmother. And so now all the genes that you got from me, barabar ho gaya. Hisab kitab barabar. So what I'm saying is that men, you have to find a way, as a wife, you have to be supportive because they're weak in some sense. They have energy, but you need to make them powerful. And that power means this energy of theirs, because that comes from Purush. And then you need to make them efficient. You have to teach them. You have to learn. That's why mothers as a teacher is 1 million times better than a teacher. Actually, she's 100 times better than a father. It's written in Manusmriti. It says, Upadhyayan Dasam Acharya Acharyanam Satam Pita and Sahastranam Pitru Mata. 1,000 times better than, I said 100 times, 1,000 times better. A mother is 1,000 times better than a father. But not just by not having some child, you have to claim that I'm a professor, but if I didn't do my job very well, I'm not worth being given respect. So like I said, Gunja was my student, but I still listened to her. I did research and I presented the data. Now she's more convinced, she's more respectful to me as a professor. Actually, she told me once, she said her father passed away 2 years ago. And so she said, now you're like my father. Every time I have some trouble, I call you. I said, no, I'm not like your father. She was a little bit disappointed when I said that. But I said, no, I'm like your mother. Because mother is the one which takes a baby in the womb and then carries the baby for 9 months and then knows everything. I said, as a professor, when you take a PhD student, you're like taking somebody like taking in your womb. This person doesn't know anything, but I know so much about her, what she doesn't know, what mistakes she does, whatever, all kind of stuff. Mentally, at least I know. So she's like a baby that, so the professor's more like a mother. And she was happy. I'm going to actually see her this afternoon because I'm in Los Angeles, and which is where she has moved to University of California at San Diego. So I'm going to see, she asked me to go for lunch, and this time here is still, what is the time here? It's about 8:15 here. So I still have time to get there for lunch. I have 2 hours to drive. But what I'm trying to say that women have power. They, by nature, they are the right brain people. That it's very important that Prakriti is also has everything. Prakriti is a source of Panch Mahabhutas. Akash Tattva, Vayu Tattva, Agni Tattva, Jal Tattva, and Prithvi Tattva. It's very interesting. The women seem to be better singers and better dancers. Cooking, I think I can also do as good, or maybe even better. Men can do better cooking. But it's very interesting. The singing is good because there's Akash Tattva. Everything comes from there. And yesterday, when I saw Vijay Lakshmi is her name, and she's dancing, and that is the Vayu Tattva, that's movement. So they are very flexible and they are very communicative, because without sound, you cannot communicate. If some of you don't know, women on average speak 19,000, approximately around there, 19,000 words. per day. And men speak only 7,000. Because women have to give instructions. Men have to do the work. So, but you have to find as many as 3 times speak nice, that means speak very nicely, very tactically, very sweetly, whatever that you need to use to make sure that this person, you can use your power to get the work done. And that is how this world is. So that's why I think the Mahiṣāsura Mardinī is a multi-dimensional picture that should be used to train both men and women to attain the best that they have, so that they are able to not only prove what they are, not only they are contented and they're happy with what they have, but also to make this world sustainable. So I when you have this, the whole, I did listen to Mahiṣāsura Mardinī Stotra because I was there here for an hour before I had to go to my other assignment. And the way it describes, I'm sorry I missed, if somebody did go through everything, I will try to understand everything that has been described. This is one of the other very important aspects of India, is that India is everything scientifically done. In India, nothing is done where you cannot you cannot question. You can question anything. You can question everybody. The whole Vedic knowledge is come through questioning. People say that there is not that many women. There are Brahmavadini women. They have been, who have been Maitreyi, Gargi, all these have written their own richas for Vedas. But many times they don't need to speak. They don't need to have that position that I spoken this is please right. This is all man. This is Mahiṣāsura. So they need to get credit. Their ahankar needs to be served. And the women do that. It's like, it's not like they don't. But when it becomes extreme, that they have to deal with it. So it is very important that in our culture, India's culture, and India's culture is everywhere, it's not only just in India. South, Dravidian culture came to north, and from north, it went to everywhere. Actually, there is a science, genetics tells that how 200,000 years, according to science, 200,000 years ago, humans were born. And then about 70,000 years ago, they moved from Africa to India. And interestingly, they went to South India. Because maybe variety of regions. Somebody told me yesterday when I was telling the same story, they said, oh, because maybe their feature, their color looks. That's really, the color is not a trait that is the original. It is, if you live in Himalayas for 20 years, your color will become fair skin. Italy is one country which is like north-south, long strip. So southern Italians have darker color than northern Italians. It's like every country in this world, South people have darker because they get more light exposure. Actually, this is better for them because they get more vitamin D. Maybe that's why the knowledge also comes, because you need to be healthy. And so what I'm saying is that this is very important, that they came, and then from that, like I said, Matsavtar brings them to Ayodhya, and Ayodhya must be having some strong feature why he left in Ayodhya. He could have left in Punjab, and then this will be claimed by Aparna. That everything, and actually some Nepali people are still talking about Ayodhya was in Nepal. That's they're talking about that. I mean, maybe in Nepal, Janakpur was there for sure. Maybe they're just getting confused. And Janaki was very, very important person. The Ram is made by Janaki. If Janaki didn't go, I was telling somebody once, if Janaki didn't go, you see, Ram said, Ram Sita hi chita hi kaho Prabhu bata ahai kumar mor laghu brata. This is a Ramayana Chopai. It means, for those of you who do not know this, he says, he looks at Sita and she says, oh, basically I have my wife here, but my brother is ahai kumar mor laghu brata. My younger brother is single. So, but he didn't know that his Sita's actually sister Urmila was married to him the same day. The Ram was married. That means if Sita was not there, he would also be Kumar. He had no reason to say no to Supnakha. And then Ravana will become Ram Sala. And then, Sala Bahnoi will make the whole world Rakshas. So it is because of Sita, he did not get married to Supnakha. If Sita was not there, he would be married to Supnakha. And the whole world will be very different. We will be talking about very different ideas. I wouldn't be maybe even existing. I wouldn't be even born here. We will be all the Supnakha type people around the whole world. So what I'm saying is that so this whole thing that came to Ayodhya, and the Janaki came from Janakpur, and Kausalya came from, where is this place? Chhattisgarh. The Chhattisgarh is a Kausalya place. She made Ram what Ram is. Sita made Ram. Sita made sure that Ram remains like that. And even though she had to go to exile, she still made sure that Ram remains Ram like that. So it's the world is really the women's world. The people who say that India has a patriarchy, this is we take the Western connotations, and women in India don't rise up to exclaim their position. Actually, Kausalya says in Ramayana, at least 500 years ago, before this patriarchy, matriarchy, all this stuff that came from Western world, it was in the Ramayana. I am from Ayodhya, so I know only Avodhi Ramayana. So I'm sorry. I know there is a Kam Ramayana, and there are some other in every language. And so when Ram goes to tell Kausalya that he's going to go to the forest, so Kausalya says, "Jau keval pitu aya suttata." That means only when your father has given you the order. Tau jini jao means to don't go. Jini in the local word means no. Tau jini jao jani badi mata. He said that if your father has given you, then you don't need to go, because I am mother, my position is higher. And I'm just telling you not to go. So this is at least Tulsidas wrote 500 years ago. The mother has a better position. Manusmriti is much older. It says mother has better position. So there is no reason if we didn't have these cultures coming from Janakpur or Chhattisgarh, Kaushal. I think that was known as Kausal Raj. I'm not very sure about that. So women have made this world. Women have power, but power has to have energy. Men, Purush is energy, and you need to find a way to combine all that. For now, I'm looking at the watch. You said give me an hour, so I'm just three more minutes. I'm finishing. She's maybe getting concerned because there's probably you need a couple of minutes to do the vote of thanks. So all that is really it speaks to whatever you all have presented today, and whatever is the Indian concept. And what we really need to do is a lot more work, so that the rest of the world knows this. And how would they know that? You have to demonstrate that. You have to demonstrate in you, in your brother, in your son, in your husband, in your father. And they are the energy, they will do it. So thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much, because जो आपने कहा sir, that is a different thing, क्योंकि आपने ये आपका विजन है, मैं समझती हूँ सभी इस पे एग्री करेंगे कि जो है ज्यादातर फीमेल्स को, अभी मेरे पास एक किसी की क्वेरी भी आई थी और उन्होंने कहा कि आप महिषासुर मर्दिनी को नारी शक्ति के साथ नहीं जोड़ सकते, दैट इज समथिंग डिफरेंट। तो ऐसा एक क्वेश्चन आया था बिफोर द प्रोग्राम इन द मॉर्निंग टुडे इटसेल्फ। सो मैंने बोला कि आप प्लीज प्रोग्राम में आइए, हम प्रोग्राम में ही देखते हैं, वहीं कमेंट्स वगैरह एक्सचेंज करेंगे, क्योंकि मैं खुद भी अथॉरिटी नहीं रखती कि मैं उनके बारे में या उनके क्वेश्चन के बारे में कुछ कह सकती। But listening to all the presentations and especially the presidential address, जिस तरह से आपने फीमेल को यहाँ पर रखा है और एनर्जी एंड पावर, ऊर्जा और शक्ति, इसका जो अंतर संबंध आपने यहाँ बताया है, वो नेचुरली नारी शक्ति का को डिफाइन करता है महिषासुर मर्दिनी स्तोत्र के थ्रू। तो वी आर वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू यू सर फॉर दिस ब्यूटीफुल प्रेजेंटेशन एंड द एड्रेस।